you. Before we talk about where we're going, I think it is appropriate for us to talk and think about those who came before us. Founded in 1889, the University of New Mexico sits on the traditional homelands of the Pueblo of Sandia. The original peoples of New Mexico, Pueblo, Navajo, and Apache, since time immemorial, have deep connections to the land and have made significant contributions to the broader community statewide. We honor the land itself and those who remain stewards of this land throughout the generations, and also acknowledge our committed relationships to Indigenous peoples. We gratefully recognize our history. So, 2040, this plan is a function of a year of incredible work with a community that was engaged with us at many stages of this process. We're very fortunate that those before us also thought about our future, because all of those before us laid incredible groundwork for where we are today. Today, we are excited. We're optimistic about our future. We are especially excited to share with you this 2040 plan today. It took all of us working together to get to this point, to create a blueprint, to articulate our mission, our vision, and values. And I can tell you this, it will take all of us working together for us to get this plan put into action. So, what is it we want you to do today? The main takeaway we want you to have is we want you to end up understanding why this plan matters. Why it matters not only to each of us as Lobos, but how it is so important for our community and all the communities that we serve. You've likely heard the saying that if you build it, they will come. Well, they will come if what you've built is something that matters. And that is what we have worked on, to build something that matters, a foundation for what matters. Together, we're going to continue to build on that foundation. Our plan is substantive. It's thoughtful and thorough. It's sustainable. It's something that looks both at the short term and at the long term. It's resilient. We think this plan can weather the unexpected. And if we know anything at all, it is to expect the unexpected. And it's scalable. This is something that we can be flexible as we need to be. We can be local. We can go global. And I hope that you'll see that in the plan that we present. We have reflected on our very existence and the impact that we have had on our students, our employees, our institution, and on the other communities that we serve. We also spent time thinking about what we haven't built yet, because there are lots of things we haven't built yet, and the impact we intend to have over the next few years and the next few decades and even beyond. Now, I'm going to tell you that building what matters is not easy. It is challenging, and we've discovered it never ends. It simply never ends. But in that's where the thrill is. It's thrilling to be able to think about these things and plan for them and do them. It's what drives us to achieve every day. It's what drives us to think about doing great things every day. And as we reflect on this and we build on what has been achieved over the last generation or so, I'm inspired by the ways in which we've had so many people who joined with us to think about where UNM can go in the next few years. So moving forward, it seems our future is bright. Can you swap out your mic? Oh. Your mic wasn't on for some reason. Y'all can.
Testing, 1, 2.
Wow, what a difference. You could hear me before though, right? But now, I just got to keep this thing away from me because I'm a little too loud. Well, thank you. This is much better. So the DNA of UNM's culture and the roadmap to our future is really embedded within our vision, our mission, and our values. Together, we have updated them to reflect what UNM is now and where we'll be in the future. So this is our vision of the future, or is it our mission? There's our vision. Okay, this is our vision of the future. And it's aspirational, certainly. That's what visions are. But with the group of leaders that we have, the people we have at UNM, the people we have here, that is how we will achieve that vision. Next is our mission statement. And it defines who we are and what we do, both now and in the future. And then our values. Our values say a lot about who we are now, as well as who we want to be in the coming decades. And I want to leave this one up for a moment so that you can see what those values are of excellence, inclusion, environment, integrity, and place. So as a university for New Mexico, our overarching goal is to achieve a vibrant and thriving society and to build a healthier, better educated, and more economically vigorous New Mexico. A successful UNM is integral to an educated and certified workforce. A successful UNM is ethical, and it is absolutely important to the economic success of our state. A successful UNM is vital for a state that is healthy, a healthy New Mexico. So the best way for the University of New Mexico to succeed, to strive, the best way for us to do this is to strive constantly to create opportunities which will advance our state, focus on the student experience and educational innovation, build on the strength of our diverse culture, establish an operational model that is environmentally, socially, and economically sustainable, and one that more fully integrates the many activities of this institution. What we know is that institutions of higher education have for years and years been fighting how easily we silo ourselves. And yet the future of this institution is dependent upon our ability to actually work effectively together to achieve our goals. And you'll find out more about that one in just a bit. So these are our goals. And what we're going to do is have the champions for each of these goals share a bit more about each of the goals for which they serve as champions. To tell you more about goal 1, which is Advance New Mexico, I call forward our 2 champions for this goal, Provost James Holloway and Executive VP of Health Sciences and CEO of the health system, Doug Ziodonis. Welcome.
Thank you, President. Whoa, that's exciting. Well, thank you, President Stokes, and thank you all for being here for this kickoff for our UNM 2040 plan. We'd like to tell you a little bit about this first goal, goal 1, which is really advancing New Mexico. This is, when you think about it, something that UNM has unique opportunity to do. We are a place of discovery, a place of creation. We are a place of education. We're a place that develops the human mind. That capacity gives us the opportunity to support the state that supports us, and indeed gives us the responsibility to support the state that supports us, as well as the broader world. We have unique opportunities to do this and unique capacities to do this. And so it really is a core part of our mission. And advancing New Mexico means everything from educating the people of New Mexico, educating the people of the world. It involves developing the economy of New Mexico, creating the foundation on which the societies of New Mexico can grow. It involves supporting healthcare in New Mexico, providing patient service, but also developing New Mexico as a healthy state, thinking about our goals and mission of public health. All of these are opportunities for us to contribute to society, both in New Mexico and across the world. This is what's key for us in this particular goal. Dr. Zadonis?
Well, first, I want to just thank everybody for being here. It's exciting to both have this come out, but really your voice in an ongoing way is going to what's making the difference. And I want to thank everybody who put this together, because everybody had a voice in this. You could have gone through idea scale. Anybody could have done it. You could have been participating in the survey and the work groups. So again, I just wanted to shout that out first. In my role, I wake up every morning and I think, how are we going to improve the health of New Mexico here in New Mexico? That's one of the parts of Goal 1. It's a continuum of public health, community outreach, as well as the clinical services of a $1.5 billion health system. And that's part of us, part of UNM. We also have schools of medicine, nursing, pharmacy, and public health. And those are all supporting, as well as the health professions, our effort in the health domain. And it's about how we all work together. We're going to talk about that in Goal 5. But a school of public health is an example of us all working together, but it's also an example of helping the health of this state. We've been doing health equity community dialogues. We were in Las Cruces, we were in Hobbs recently. Sadly, we're going to have to postpone because of the fires in Las Vegas, but we're going to be all over the state listening to people on how we can improve health. And it's going to vary from social determinants of health to clinical services in the full complement. This is a great opportunity for us to think about how are we going to be advancing New Mexico. So I just came from a meeting with Rainforest Innovation, Innovate ABQ. How do we partner and all know even about what we have here so that we're thinking in that innovative way? And the last comment I want to make on this is we need to keep recruiting and keep growing. That means bringing people from out of state. I love being here in New Mexico. There are so many great things to sell about New Mexico. Let's make that list. Let's help bring in people to strengthen what we're doing.
So if we think a little bit about, what does this look like? How does each of us contribute to this goal? Now, partially that's the point of today and future work. All of us need to think about, okay, what are the things we can do individually as members of this institution or institutionally to advance New Mexico? And that's an important step. Each of us in our daily work has opportunities to think about where does this connect to the advancement of New Mexico? The work that we do through community engagement, the kind of listening tour that Doug was just describing that he's undertaking to spend time with the communities of New Mexico and understand what are the health needs, the public health needs, the community health needs. That's something that we do in many spheres of work across the institution. That's a piece of understanding the opportunities and challenges of New Mexico. What we do as a research institution is create new ideas. Those ideas very often can advance New Mexico through things like creating new companies, but also through things like creating new social systems, creating new policy, moving that policy through helping to move that policy through the legislative process to create the structures that make New Mexico successful. And this is a virtuous synergy. Our work in advancing New Mexico isn't only about us supporting the state that supports us. By engaging with New Mexico and its opportunities and challenges, we develop new research questions. We create new opportunities for our own educational enterprise, for our own scholarly enterprise. Our branch campuses do this every day. They're fundamentally community-based, and they immediately respond to the needs of their local communities. We can, as an institution, do that at a larger scale. We already do, and we need to think about how we do that more.
Everybody's voice matters. So how do we make sure there's an ability for your ideas to be cultivated? Some of that's going to be mentoring for faculty, mentoring for students, mentoring for staff, engaging with the community. Knowing the pride that we have here, we have a lot of research dollars, over 350 million. I see the dean of the College of Pharmacy. He hates when I do this, but who's #1 in pharmacy in the nation in research? University of California, San Francisco. Who's next? Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Who's next? Florida. Who's #4? UNM. Woo! They have 4 major centers related to environmental health. And think about our state, the fires, the other uranium, other exposures. If we're going to enhance the health of all New Mexicans, we're going to have kind of science that's going there that's going to also lead to companies. In the health science, we've developed 61 new companies. We want to help you, any of the staff, faculty, and ideas on how to, because this is going to help advance New Mexico.
Thank you, and we didn't practice, and we're really excited about this, so we only went 1 minute and 30 seconds over. Oh, yes, sorry, there's a next step. We really didn't practice. So now we'd like you to take a moment to think about this goal and how it connects to you, your work at UNM. And to start that, really just turn to a neighbor and have a quick discussion on how this goal resonates with you and your work at UNM. So please be noisy. This is meant to be a lot of action and energy. So talk to a neighbor and think about this question.
That's why I put the slides, so you can move to the next one.
It's because you're smarter than me. It looks like we already have answers.
Well, you got 2 things going on. You got, and then there's the poll.
How do they know to do the poll?
Because they are smart. These are UNM people.
I see we have a lot of folks doing the poll too, so please, everyone who has the link for that, go ahead and put your thoughts up. Thanks.
I knew we'd have a head start. So many of you already doing the work to advance New Mexico. So impressive. Thank you so much. So now what I'd like to do is introduce our champions for our second goal, which is education, the student experience and educational innovation. I'd like to call up to the stage Pamela Cheek, who is an Associate Provost for Student Success, Eric Scott, our new Vice President for Student Affairs, who doesn't officially start till August 1st, and Teresa Vigil, who is an interim Senior Associate Dean in our School of Medicine.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Teresa Vigil. I am a lifelong New Mexican. I am a lifer at the University of New Mexico, class of 95 biology, BS, class of 2003 medical school, and then pediatrics and so on and so on. So who are the students in this room? You are me. Okay, 30 years from now. Okay, 27. So welcome. I am so glad you're here. And the student experience is really what this is all about. And I like to kind of bring in the mission of the medical school and in talking about this particular goal, because we really, really have to think about how education in New Mexico is related to the health and well-being of all New Mexicans. And that's the mission, right? To advance the health of all New Mexicans. So it's a really exciting goal to talk about. And I could go into a lot of detail, but we only have 5 minutes. I want to emphasize one thing. The education, undergraduate, graduate, all of that is not transactional. It's not all about just doing the work and getting the diploma and then saying goodbye. It is experiential, and we have long known this in health and in medicine, because we throw our medical students, our health profession students out into the world while they're still students, where they get practice in real life settings, and they get to do the work that they will be doing for the rest of their lives. This is what we want to promote. These activities, these experiences are already available on our campus, but we want to bring them all together. We want to work with our student services programs. We want to get students, every student, I think that's a great goal, every student the opportunity to do an internship, a co-op, some kind of practical experience, so that, number one, you can see if that's the work you want to do, and number two, to get experience in it. Finally, we on North Campus, just across the street on Lomas, it's really not that far from here. But we sometimes act like it's miles and miles away, but it's not. We need to operate together. We are one UNM. We are here to work together. We can't be operating in silos, and that is also part of this goal. So we look forward to this next 20 years, and I probably will be here because I've been here so long already. I'd like to hand it off to Pamela Cheek.
Hello, everybody. I will just start by saying that I've had the privilege of receiving 2 educations at the University of New Mexico. One has been as a faculty member, and I just walked out of a master's thesis defense, and there are so many students that I have had the privilege of learning from as I've mentored them, as I've worked with them in the classroom, as I've listened to them, as I've changed the way that I teach to understand how I can connect to their lives and how to make learning meaningful in a state as remarkable as New Mexico. And then I've had a second education after moving over to Scholes Hall, although I still keep a foot into teaching because I love it. And that education, I'm seeing people around the room, Dan and Elisha and Pam and Terry and Monica and Liz, and I won't name all the names, Rodney. All of you have taught me so many things about what it means to operate as a community with care and to be intentional. And I don't think I really got the University of New Mexico until the pandemic. And I saw people just drop what they were doing to keep us safe, working 24 hours a day as a team collectively to get those vaccination rates up, to make it possible to continue to deliver an education. And the terror and also excitement of being a team, keeping everyone healthy, is profoundly inspiring to me. And what I learned from all of the people in this room that I recognize is that together we are capable of tremendous things in a way that I think no other university really is. We did something remarkable, and that power that we have to row together that we demonstrated during the pandemic, so that we deliver healthcare, so that we deliver education, so that we pay attention to every student who is on the verge of deciding to withdraw from a class or from the university. We did that, and we will continue to do that, and 2040 is the opportunity to continue to row together. So how are we going to do it? How are we going to focus on teaching and learning and educational innovation? To succeed, we will be listening to you. I want to continue my education that I always get when I listen to folks at the University of New Mexico. Staff, students, faculty, communities, you know what works in meeting student needs. You know what the approaches are that are successful. We also need to evaluate and potentially adopt best practices in inclusive excellence from other schools, while better supporting and institutionalizing successful practices like our bridge programs that we already have here on site. We do need to look at some tech solutions. We need to look at some data interpretation, but those are only useful when they're guided by kindness, by valuing equity, and by valuing access. It's not about technology, it's about people. And I learned that from the IT folks at the University of New Mexico. We need to rely on your knowledge to design and adopt a synergistic, integrated, and responsive student support model in which, for example, a student who might be considering leaving has a team that's going to allow them to stay, because we don't want them to make a truly costly decision. We need to acknowledge and create opportunities for culture building and coalition building. We do better when we bring resources together in a coordinated way. We also need to recognize our communities, their histories, and recognize too that there is no single ending to our students' stories. That's the force of what we do. We make many futures, unexpected futures possible for the students we serve. I am so delighted to be a part of this work, to have learned from all of you so that I feel better equipped to do this work. And I'm really delighted that Eric Scott is joining us. Eric, you want to take it away?
Thank you. And I just want to say briefly that I am so honored and humbled and excited to be joining the University of New Mexico team. And it's really wonderful to be here today. So thank you for inviting me into what will become my home. When we think about student success, when we think about educational innovation, when we think about the student experience, I think it's important to remember that New Mexico is our classroom and our charge. No matter which campus you're studying on, or even if you're a remote or distance learner, we have an opportunity to serve all of New Mexico in a distinct educational way. A high quality, innovative, and supportive educational experience elevates the life chances of students and the outcomes of communities. We know that from empirical research. So we have a responsibility to deliver high quality education to all of New Mexico's population. It's also a chance to ensure that students have a multitude of pathways to success. We have to catalog our most innovative work and inspire an environment of continuous improvement. It's also an opportunity to be thoughtful about the ways in which we serve our students. Educational experience and the student experience infrastructure is the key to unlocking great life outcomes for our students and our communities. And we have to be not just responsive, but proactively inclusive of students who carry a multitude of identities and lived experiences. Learning and development opportunities must be equitably accessible and relevant to all of our students, no matter where they're coming from or where they're going. And finally, it's important for us to remember as the University of New Mexico community that lifting up our students lifts up us, lifts up our community, and lifts up our state to a better tomorrow. You now have an opportunity to participate in another poll, I believe, and conversation.
So turn to your neighbor, have another conversation, and you're already starting the poll. So, but talk to each other for just a few seconds. How does this resonate with you? We got it. Okay, thank you. So we clearly have a room full of people doing this work. Even more here than Advancing New Mexico. It's kind of amazing. And as the gold champion said, that's why we need you. Thank you for your input. All right, so let's transition to goal 3, inclusive excellence. And for this goal, I would like to bring forward our champion, Vice President for Equity and Inclusion, Asada Zarai.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's so great to see that you've had an opportunity to come out and have this conversation with us today. We cannot be successful in terms of any of these goals without your input, your work, your creative ideas, your criticism. We want to hear it all because without you, we cannot be successful. So thanks so much for being here. So I'm really proud and honored to serve as the champion for goal 3, which is inclusive excellence. And I want to thank all of the smiling faces I see in the room. We had a working group, and Pam Agoyo was one of the co-chairs of that working group. I see my colleagues from DEI here across the audience, as well as folks from the LGBTQ Resource Center. And so we really know that we'll be successful in accomplishing the objectives from this goal because of this collective work. And so today I wanted to just talk about 3 of the objectives within that goal and give you a sense of some of the progress we've already started to make in terms of the inclusive excellence goal, as well as one ambitious objective that I'd like to share with you. And so the first is faculty diversity. And anyone who knows me knows that faculty diversity is really central to much of the work that I've done here at UNM since joining almost 3 years ago. And just so proud to work with our lead council of associate deans for diversity, along with our DEI staff and faculty, in order to accomplish some of the gains that we have seen. And so what the overarching goal there is a 25% increase in our minority faculty here at UNM. And there are a number of tactics that we're involved with in order to accomplish that objective. First, we want to ensure that our faculty and executive search committees are informed about how to reduce implicit bias in their decision-making, in selection and interview processes. And that is well underway, and we're really thankful to our colleagues in academic affairs who've helped us to bring this along. Secondly, we're building a pathway to the professoriate with our Inclusive Excellence postdoc program, which has already resulted in the hires of 7 new postdocs. We're quite proud of that. One of whom has already transitioned to assistant professor, and so great success there already. And then finally, it's really important to put resources forward to keep our faculty. And so it's not good enough to hire them. We want to keep them. We want them to be productive in terms of going through the tenure and promotion process plus. And so we have a number of resources around professional development and scholarly development that we're making available to our faculty members. Our second objective that I'll talk about today that's in progress is our work to enhance UNM's inclusive culture. And I'm really happy that my LGBTQ Resource Center colleagues are here. They have administered a survey to queer and trans faculty and staff, the first of its kind here at UNM. And it's also very unique nationally. And so we are appreciative of our colleagues over in the Office of Institutional Analytics for their advice and help. And so far, I think we have 300 surveys that have been completed. So super, super excited about that. We are also administering surveys to our students at all levels and have learned about their experiences with microaggressions. We have a survey that will be going out in the fall to faculty with disabilities. And then finally, a STEM experiences survey to our undergrads, our first-year students, as well as our transfer students. And we don't collect all this data just for it to sit on a shelf. I'm a sociologist, and so I love data. I could just play in it all day, every day, but that's not enough. We really want to use those results to create a better learning environment and scholarly environment for our full community here. And so we're excited about implementing some of those innovations and interventions. And then the third thing that I will mention is that ambitious goal that I mentioned. It's our hope for a future in which we double the number of BIPOC and Hispanic doctoral students at UNM by creating an inclusive learning environment in which they thrive, because we will work toward guaranteeing 5 years of funding for all doctoral students of color at UNM. We're really excited about that. We have our eye on some external resources, some external funds in order to ensure that, so that we can match some of our R1 peers in providing that kind of support. And so, as I said before, the outstanding team of collaborators who are already involved really inspire us and build confidence that the Inclusive Excellence goal and objectives are possible. The UNM Diversity Council, the Lead Council, the working group that laid out the objectives for Goal 3, all invite our very precious students and all of our campuses to look expectantly forward to a future in which our highest ideals are realized. We hope that you will join us as we chart this future together. Thank you. And so the prompt is, how does the Inclusive Excellence goal relate to your work, teaching, and studies? And we look forward to seeing your input on that. Thank you.
So we turn and chat with each other. You know, what I was told about this is that we ask our students to do this all the time, and the rest of us aren't accustomed to turning and speaking, so I don't hear a word. But it looks like you're putting your input in. So that's all right. Thank you so much for your input. I see that you're headed here. So many of you are already engaged in this work. We have the expertise here to take this even further. That is very clear, you who are responding. So, all right, well, thank you. Now let's move to our goal champion 4. Our final, our goal 4 is simply sustainability. And I am bringing forward, I'm pleased to bring forward Teresa Costandinides, our Senior VP for Finance and Administration.
Thank you so much. All right. Do I have one of the working microphones? I'm not sure I do, Garn. Can I? Oh, and now. All right, everybody. Now you can hear me. Hi there. I am so honored to be here to be the champion of Goal 4 on sustainability. It's great to see so many friendly faces in the crowd, folks that I know are going to help work on this project. First off, I want to point out, what does sustainability mean in this context? You need to understand what we mean to understand why it's so important here at UNM. And so I think about sustainability as building the infrastructure and making sure that all the resources that we need now and in the future are available to support the goals and objectives that we've just been hearing about for UNM. When I say resources, I want to make it clear it's everything we want to accomplish. That includes people, technology, funding, facilities. It's everything we need. And one of the key ones that we heard from extensive community feedback was that environmental sustainability is an imperative for all of us here at UNM and for the world. This was especially clear from our students. Almost 500 students wrote to us in response to the survey we sent out in November, December. And frankly, most of you said that environmental sustainability, working to protect the planet, was needed to be a top priority for UNM. And we agree with you on that. So it's in here. How will we do all of these things? We'll do them by steadily growing our revenue, controlling our costs, and implementing the systems, the processes, the principles, including the environmental practices, to maintain and improve the quality of our performance and to protect our Earth. The 6 objectives in this goal tie directly to these tasks. So how are we going to work together to make this successful? Well, with so many separate and seemingly distinct areas, I know we can't focus on just one at a time. We'll never get there. So we need to find ways to make progress on all and create synergies across the different objectives. This means both the distribution of workload down the list, but also multiple points of connection. And we know we can do this because we already have. When we were talking about Goal 2, we talked a little bit about our success during COVID with technology and how we managed it. We knew immediately we needed to beef up access to computing for our students and faculty in our instructional area, but also we needed to support our research functions and our operating work environment, all at the same time. The solutions we came up with had to work across all the areas. But I think it's important to realize, although I recognize there are a lot of IT people here in the room today, this wasn't just about IT. Academic affairs, the schools and colleges, human resources, facilities management, the branch campuses, health sciences, procurement. I just can't list everybody who was involved in developing the technologies we needed to function during COVID. Everyone is involved. And environmental sustainability on the list will need similar synergies. No one department can do it all. We have to work together. So I do have an example of a current sustainability project that I think you should be aware of. UNM Lobo Energy has been working with facilities management and conducted what we call an investment grade audit that will lead to energy performance contracting. I know those kind of jargony, but basically what it means is that we're going to invest millions of dollars on things like HVAC replacement, lighting conversions, building automation, and more activities in our South Campus that will result in significant water and electricity conservation. This will affect the South Campus in the first iteration, and the whole thing will be paid for by savings in those areas. It's a very exciting project, and it's underway right now, but we know we can do more than that. So I just want to say, when we go into these projects, overall, we know we are blessed to have academic experts here, engaged students, high-quality staff, and organizations that are passionate about participating in these types of activities. Our next step is to develop some common understanding of the specific tactics that we'll accomplish to be successful. So how can this work? How can you be involved? Well, we know that every single Lobo needs to participate. So my ask of you is, When you're called upon, please step up. But also keep doing things on your own. We know we're an active and passionate pack, and I know we will be successful in these initiatives. Now, not as a surprise, I'm going to invite you to talk to your neighbors and then vote in the poll about how does Goal 4 sustainability relate to your work, your teaching, and your studies. Thank you very much.
Well, this one looks to be distributed a little bit differently. So lots of opportunities here. All right. Well, thank you for your input. I like those. I'm not sure, but I'm interested. I love those. Thank you. All right. So we're down. Goal 5. This is the last of our 5 goals. And what I'd like to do is acknowledge that one of the goal champions had a flight delay today and is not here to speak. That is our Vice President for Athletics and Athletic Director, Eddie Nunez. But coming up is, you've seen their faces before. Oh, there it is. Okay. James Holloway, Doug Ziodonis, they're here to talk about One University.
All right, the final goal. So you all have been doing a good job listening and attending. Thank you. So for me personally, this was a very exciting goal because when the president recruited me, she said, you know, One University is going to matter a lot. I want you to come and help us in doing this with health sciences, the campus, the branches. So I came here in part because of the excitement around this goal. Now, what's interesting is in the surveys and in the other idea scale, you all wanted that too. It was one of the favorite themes, so we made sure to include it in here. Now, for me, some of the examples of One University already in 1 year have been amazing. Where's the government relations team? I think I saw Nathan before. We did really well in getting some support for a School of Public Health. It's been since 1964 since an R1 developed, a new university developed a School of Public Health. It's so important for our state, and you can't do it nowadays unless you include engineering and business and fine arts and design thinking. So we now have created an executive council on public health, and so there'll be an opportunity for students, staff, faculty interested in this area. Another area is homelessness. You see it around, it impacts us. You want to do something about it. So now we have a whole campus initiative, and after this meeting, I'm going to go hear the research update on what's going on in Albuquerque from our team. We've now also included the veterans. You know, in inclusive excellence, there's so many groups that have not been included. So can you imagine 1/3 of the homeless are veterans? And they were not part of the homeless coalition, but now they are, and that just happened in the past month. So those are examples also of people feeling like they belong and that we're really extending an inclusive excellence. Another is Project ECHO. ECHO's all over the world, 190 nations. How many of you know Project ECHO? It's all over the country, and we brought it in to help the students manage COVID. Another is the president and a bunch of us are thinking about a healthy and safe campus network. How do we bring in all our resources to support that kind of activity? I want to do a shout out to the branches because they're watching us. So let's give a hand to the branches. Woo! Because we can't be one campus without them either. And also, there is a campus in Rio Rancho that the College of Nursing, and we got the dean in the front row here, and she's doing a great job of expanding the number of students we have as undergrad and grad students. Lastly, I just wanted to say, to reinforce, not only is one campus throughout everything, but so is inclusive excellence. And so that has got to be something that is really a driver for us, and to think about as one campus, how do we work on that particular goal also. So thank you for all your leadership in that, and you gave a great talk as usual. I'm going to pass it over to my good friend.
Thanks, Doug. So, Teresa Vigil mentioned this issue in an interesting way. We're North Campus, it's right across the street. It really is right across the street, and yet we sort of think of it as on a different planet. So a lot of becoming one campus is about culture. It's about the way we think about ourselves. We have 6 major sites throughout the state: Albuquerque, Rio Rancho, Los Alamos, Taos, Valencia, and Gallup. But actually, we're in every county in the state. We have community health workers in every county. We have research activities going on in every county, not to mention beyond the state. So we're actually a large, complex, interesting organization. And it's pretty easy for the different parts to kind of do their own thing. But actually, when we do our own thing, we're missing really important opportunities to be stronger, to be better, to serve New Mexico, to advance New Mexico, to serve our students. And so a lot of this is really each of us stopping to say, okay, how am I thinking about the rest of the institution? Where are the opportunities to connect? How do students in the College of Arts and Sciences do research activities, undergraduate research with the School of Medicine? How do students in engineering take a class in the School of Law? What's the point to a student of having all of these amazing and fantastic schools if students can't actually cross between them? And so there are a lot of ways we can improve the opportunities to do that, all the way from things like course scheduling to administrative systems, removing barriers and friction points. But the key part really is culture. It's for all of us to start thinking about ourselves as one university and thinking about all of the parts as we do our day-to-day work. So let's have a little chat with our neighbors. And for those of you who figured out how to vote, I never did, go ahead and do the poll.
All right. Oh, there's somebody. Okay. All right. Looking for ways to solve this. This is a heavy lift because we are talking about culture. We do need to be able to celebrate and avoid competition. Quit thinking. It's the way we think about ourselves and what we do. This goal will serve our students, our faculty, our staff. It'll make our work lives, it'll make the university a better place. And I know some of you are already working on it. You've been working on it every day. All right. So I want to say, here are our 5 goals. You've seen the objectives, you've seen the champions. And these champions were put in these roles because they have the ability to get this done. We will be having many, many more conversations with people on and off our campus. This is really just the beginning. Even though we've been doing this for a year, this is only the beginning, because now is the time when we pull the teams together and look at what we're going to actually do in the next few months. So you can expect to hear a lot more about this plan. You can expect to be engaged with us. You'll see a lot of activities, certainly in the fall. We've got summer coming up. There'll be a great deal of work done during the summer, but then we will be engaging the institution with how we are successfully identifying objectives and tactics, and what it is, how we're going to measure ourselves. What is success going to look like for each one of these goals and objectives? So a whole lot more to come. Thank you for your engagement. Thank you for what I know will be your continued engagement in this 2040 Opportunity Defined Plan. Have a great afternoon and a great weekend. Feel free, if there's any pizza left, to stay around and socialize. Leadership will be here if you have any questions. But thank you, everyone.